One of the key fragrance trends of 2025 will be tea notes, and we've already seen this with a few releases, and I wanted to shop my stash and come up with 6 tea fragrances from a variety of different price points. But what does tie all these fragrances together is that in some way or another, they contain a tea note or a tea accord. So I'm excited about sharing these picks with you, but if this is your first time on this channel, hello, my name is Anya. I love fragrances, and I talk them about, I can't speak. I talk about them here every single weekday, Monday through Friday. I also do additional content on other social media platforms under the username ANECHKAFRAGRANCES. And if you're interested, I do host a podcast on Spotify called The Fragrance Report. This podcast has a new episode every Wednesday, and if you're interested in watching the video version of it, you can do so as well by subscribing to my YouTube channel and checking back every Friday, because every Friday I like to post a full-length episode of the fragrance report for you guys to watch. I do want to say a lot of these fragrances are perfumes that I have received in PR. Some I've had for years and I've purchased with my own money, but I really do want to make this a video to inspire you to shop your own stash and to come up with inventive ways to use what you already have to align with a particular trend. So I personally am on a low buy at the moment, and while I do recognize that in many ways it's somewhat easier for me to do a low buy when I'm receiving fragrances in PR, I still want to inspire you to try and shop your own stash as much as possible, which is why I continue to exercise mindful consumption. I continue to make sure that I'm using a variety of different fragrances I bought with my own money and fragrances I've received, and not just talk about what's new and trending. So with that being said, let's talk about some affordable gems first. These are some perfumes from Snif. Now, it's so noisy outside. Both of these are relatively older fragrances. They're definitely not new. They've been around for quite a bit. One is Wow Factor and then the other is Golden Ticket. So these are kind of two different takes on the aromatic tea accord. Golden Ticket is a little bit more literal, but while Wow Factor is definitely playing around with some other notes besides just tea. I do really love both of these fragrances. I do also have an affiliate relationship with Snif, so I do have a code with them. But what I like about Snif is that not only are their fragrances really affordable, they also have some really accessibly priced travel size options for you to test, and they're also available in Ulta. Not all their fragrances are available in Ulta though, so I do want to mention that. But yeah, a Golden Ticket was sent to me in PR, Wow Factor was not. So let's go into the individual notes of these both, because I think that you will find both of these kind of interesting. So Golden Ticket is an aromatic fragrance. It has notes of black tea, green tea, mate, bergamot, sage, incense, amber, and vetiver. This smells almost like a caffeinated black tea. Like, it's very interesting. And if you're looking for something that really brings tea to the forefront, this is a really good one, and it also has really nice longevity and a beautiful sillage as well. So Golden Ticket is one that I received a little bit more recently, but I've enjoyed incorporating it into my rotation and getting to know it. So Golden Ticket is a classic. But then of course Wow Factor has also been around for quite some time, and it's been a mainstay in my fragrance collection. Now this is taking the whole tea accord to a different level, and while tea is not explicitly listed in the scent pyramid, I feel like if you're looking for that kind of trend, you should maybe explore Wow Factor if you already have it in your collection, or try to get your hands on it and give it a smell, because this is one of those perfumes that to me emulates the accord of tea without necessarily being super explicit. So for example, Golden Ticket is more focused on that caffeinated tea. Wow Factor is definitely kind of like a green, slightly citrusy tea. So it contains notes of fig, mandarin orange, and galbanum at the top, a mid of neroli, rose, and orris, and then a base of cedarwood, ambrette, and tonka bean. So I definitely do think that like the citrusy kind of green aspect of this really adds to that tea interpretation. I do think this kind of coincides with that tea trend. So this is an example of a fragrance that doesn't necessarily emulate the fragrance trend in a literal sense, but I do think that it can fit into that trend. So I highly encourage you to just go through your fragrances, and if you're trying to emulate a certain trend, sniff through the perfumes and try to see if any of them align with the trend that you're going after. Just because something is not in the scent pyramid doesn't mean it won't smell like what you're trying to emulate. So I would definitely think that Wow Factor is a good contender for this video, and that's why I wanted to include it. Another classic tea fragrance that you probably already have in your collection, and if you don't already have it, I think you can definitely try to get a bottle secondhand or a decant. This is Gucci Memoir de Nodeur. This is like a classic chamomile tea fragrance with some citruses. This perfume has the note pyramid of chamomile, almond at the top, a mid of musk and jasmine, and then a base of sandalwood, cedar, and vanilla. Recently, I've really been into the soothing and relaxing perfumes, and this is one that's definitely aligned with that aesthetic. This is more of like a citrusy chamomile tea. It's nothing like the black tea or the green tea that I might have shared in other fragrances. This is more of like the citrusy kind of lemon peel tea with the chamomile. It's a really soothing, relaxing fragrance. It's definitely on the quieter side, but it's one of those classic tea fragrances, and I really couldn't do this video without talking about this kind of perfume. Another tea fragrance that's more focused on the vanilla happens to be super affordable. This is by Lattafa and it's called Liam Gray. This is a scent that I've really loved for quite some time now. I believe it was in one of my most used fragrances of 2024 video, and I really do think it stands the test of time and it holds up quite well, especially if you're looking for a fragrance that lasts a really long time but also has that beautiful tea accord. What I like about this is that this is a kind of like a milky lactonic tea with a touch of fig and a creamy vanilla. So this definitely focuses more on that vanilla rather than the tea, but I still do think it's a beautiful fragrance. And right now on Amazon, it's right under $25. It's $23 at the moment, so it's pretty affordable. I will link these fragrances below when I can, but just so you know, I'm not encouraging you to go out and buy any one of these fragrances haphazardly. I really do want this video to inspire you to look within your own collection, because this is one of those fragrances that's been out for a really long time. I've just had it in my collection, and when I was going through my perfumes and picking out fragrances for this video, this one really stood out because it does contain the note of tea, but it's a little bit focused on that vanilla. But even if you do want to buy it, it's also pretty affordable, so that does help. So this has top notes of cardamom, fig, and black tea, a mid of iris, vetiver, and labdanum, and then a base of vanilla, sandalwood, tonka, and patchouli. Like I said, this focuses more on that creamy vanilla musk in my mind. Well, yeah, there's no musk in here, but it focuses more on that creamy vanilla. It's really quite beautiful. It's not as aromatic as some other fragrances that might fall into this scent category, but if you're looking for a nice lactonic tea, maybe with some cardamom, this is really, really beautiful. And yeah, I really love it a lot. And I have been using it a lot since I first bought this, I would say last spring. But yeah, I really love this one. Next up are some niche fragrances I did receive in PR. They do have the tea notes in them, or at least something that resembles tea. The first would be Tuesday by Ariel Shoshana. You've heard me speak about this a lot, so I'm just going to keep it brief and go over the notes. But this is a beautiful literal tea fragrance that really focuses on the mint quite heavily, but in a way that's not overdone. This smells to me like mint tea. I really enjoy this one, and I would say if you're looking for like an extra special, slightly more unusual fragrance that contains tea, this is really good. It's beast mode in my opinion. It stays all day, and that's really not something you usually find in a lot of tea fragrances. Even some of these, which are my favorite fragrances when it comes to tea, are kind of like on the softer side, a lot of them, when it comes to the longevity and the sillage, but this one is a really good beast performer, and I think it's absolutely gorgeous. So this has notes of mint, basil, jasmine tea, guava, green tea, ginger, eucalyptus, coconut water, and vetiver. I love this perfume. I think they did a phenomenal job on it, and if you're looking for like a mint tea fragrance, this is definitely one to try. I love this one. Another really interesting one is from Sora Dora. I've spoken about this on several occasions. I describe this as a fruit tea. This is Elope by Sora Dora. Now, this is a perfume that's really interesting because it has notes of apricot and apple at the top, but this comes off as smelling like a fruit-based tea. So you know, like those dried fruit teas, this is what it smells like to me. So this has top notes of apricot tea and apple, a mid of osmanthus, almond, and rosemary, and then a base of sesame, vanilla absolute, and Haitian vetiver. Like I said, this ends up smelling like an apricot apple tea. It's really, really beautiful. There is a base of sesame in here. I don't smell the rosemary as much as other people happen to smell it. I don't really get it, but a lot of other people get like a super literal rosemary. That's not been my experience so far. But I do think that this is a slightly unusual take on a tea fragrance. Again, with that sesame focus. They do have this available in the Discovery set. I always recommend get the Discovery set before blind buying these fragrances if you're able to do so, and you can still use my code Anya10 for that. That is an affiliate code. You don't have to use it, but it's there if you want to use it. But yeah, so this is a more unusual take on a tea fragrance that I still think is a beautiful interpretation of this particular trend. All right, so those are the 6 tea fragrances I wanted to share today. Let me know, are there any other perfumes in your particular collection that you have rediscovered or that you possibly already knew that you loved and wore often that contain the tea note? I'm curious to hear about your thoughts on some of these fragrances as well. Have you tried them? If so, what did you think? Yeah, let me know if you want me to do any more kind of shop my stash format videos, and if you want me to switch it up, if you want me to just film myself going through my collection and like picking out the fragrances to include in this video, definitely give me feedback like that, because I'm actually still in the process of organizing my collection, so I'm trying to make it look aesthetically pleasing so I can eventually do a collection kind of video. But I do want to create more shop my stash kind of content, but because I'm receiving some of these fragrances in PR, I want to be really sensitive to that and be super honest and open without it coming across as a commercial. But I also do still want to make this valuable content that's still informative. So give me your feedback, please be nice. But that's pretty much it for this video. Thank you for watching till the end. Let me know what other fragrance trends you want me to explore next, and I'll see you next time. Bye.